Hey everybody, it's Tradiest Trades back with another COT setup markets video. And I want you to take a look at this chart and I want you to ask yourself, who in their right mind would be wanting to long this market? Like, look at this downtrend. Well, I can tell you, and I'm going to show you that the smartest minds in the world, the commercials, are super long this contract. And what is this contract? This is Kansas City wheat. And you may follow my channel. You may know that I've been looking for longs on Chicago wheat. So similar setup to Chicago wheat. Just want to show you Kansas City here. There's a lot of good teaching points for you to learn how I use COT and other underlying fundamental conditions to find markets that are set up for large trend changes. And before we get going, just remember, this is not investment advice. I'm not telling you to go buy this. I'm not telling you to sell or buy anything. This is educational and informational only. And secondly, I'd like to give credit to the legend Larry Williams. He is the man that authored these concepts, created these tools that I use to successfully speculate in the markets, and there's always credit given where credit's due on this channel. So without any further ado, let's hop into these charts. So first thing we start with is the commercials COT positioning index. We see the commercials here, the red line, they're very, very long relative to their last 26 weeks of positioning. So that's bullish code number one. Second code, we see the sentiment, the advisor sentiment index is very bearish. So this is the advisors telling their clients what to buy or sell. When these guys get very, very bearishly positioned, especially when they're juxtapositioned to the long positioning from the commercials, that's a nice setup condition. So there's two bullish setup codes. Second bullish setup or third bullish setup code is the undervaluation relative to gold. So real commodities like the grains, I compare the price to gold, and we see the gold line here. That means that this contract, this Kansas City wheat, is very undervalued relative to the price of gold. So there's three codes. That's enough to walk away from the computer and say, I want a long Kansas City wheat if I get confirmation and a daily trend change. But there's more to this setup. First, let's take a look at this. This is the net positioning lines. The red is the commercials. The blue is the large speculators. This is called the bubble up. So when they start going to the exact opposite extreme, we start to see this bubble form up here. This forms at major market turning points. Look at the last time this bubble happened where the commercial got really long while the large specs got really short. We're close to a major market low. And it happened here, close to a major market low. So that's a nice thing going for this trade. Now, what's even more crazy about this trade is that the commercials are the max long they've been of all time. So this is the red line up here is the net positioning of the commercials, and we see that they are more long than they've ever been, ever. That's crazy. And we see on the opposite side of the trade, the large speculators, the trend followers, are the most short they've ever been of all time. That is a really bullish setup condition. Generally speaking, people in these markets, they're hedgers. So you see most of the time they're below zero. So you see here, this is a zero line. They spend a lot of their time below zero because they're hedging their position. They're not using this market to speculate like you or me. The commercials are different. But what we see is they're net long. Like, look at when they get net long. We're getting close to some pretty major rallies. They got net long back here. It didn't really amount to a major rally at all. But just wanted to point out to you just how bullish this positioning is. Now, also taking a look at open interest, taking a little dive under the hood of this market, we see price has been declining. Open interest is down here. So what do we see? Open interest has been increasing for weeks while the commercials are getting more long. And who's been exiting the market? The large specs. This is a bullish open interest setup condition. Interesting to point out, the small specs in the grains have sometimes been doing pretty good. So we see the small specs here have been getting more long into this dip along with the commercials. That doesn't concern me because especially in the Chicago wheat contract, the small specs have actually been pretty decent to follow, and they more or less have been doing what the commercials have been doing. So different than other markets where we fade the small specs, in the grains market, it looks like we might want to start following what the small specs are doing. So we got all those things. Now let's take a look at the spread and the premium, or the market structure and the premium here. We're going to go into Kansas City. And what do we see here? Kansas City wheat, the July contract, the front month, 541, 555. So we're in a normal pricing structure there. But what we have over here is the spread picking up. So what we have is price making lower lows. And this bottom line here is the spread. This is the difference between the front month and the next month out. What we see is that's making higher lows. And in fact, it's breaking out to new highs before prices. So what that means is that the commercials, the only people that will drive a market into a premium, this is a premium coming on. This is showing that the commercials really want front month delivery bad, so bad that they're willing to bid it into a premium. It's not in a premium yet, but they're basically, this spread relationship implies that they really, really want the commercial, or they really, really want the front month delivery. So that is a really bullish setup condition. So that's the setup. So we've got the setup. This stuff that I just showed you is the setup. It tells us that this market should be on our radar to watch for confirmation and then entries. So what do we see for confirmation here? Well, going in on this chart, this is a daily time frame now. All the other stuff I was doing was on the weekly time frame. What do we see? Do we see any form of accumulation coming into the market? And I see, first of all, price has made lower lows here while the Progo has been making higher lows. So that tells me that there's accumulation coming into this market from professionals. And also we have price making lower low here while on balance volume is making a higher low. That confirms this trade that we're okay to look for longs. We also have a paunch on the daily. So price has been declining. This is the ADX. Whenever the ADX gets over 40 on a declining price and oversold percent R, this is the paunch. This is a classic Larry Williams method right here. And we see that it confirmed actually this week when the ADX rolled over. So this is our go ahead to say, yep, we have confirmation to look for longs. We also have the seasonal. And you know what? I don't think I looked at the seasonal here. Going back to the setup weekly condition, we see we still have a bit of a seasonal tendency to rally. Price has been way weaker than the seasonal, so this isn't great. This doesn't confirm our trade at all because the price is weaker than the seasonal, but it's still on my radar that it is generally a bullish time of year for wheat for Kansas City wheat until May 23rd. And then if we go take a little closer look at seasonals on the daily time frame, we see again price is weaker than seasonal. So typically we're making higher lows and we're way down here. So the seasonal does not confirm the trade, but the signs of accumulation at the lows does confirm the trade. So that means any method of trend change triggers, lots of different methods to use to determine that the trend has changed, would be valid entry opportunities to get into this market. I'm already long Chicago wheat. I'm going to stay long Chicago wheat, and I'm going to show you why. Because we have two markets that are set up within the same family, which is the grains, and in this case, which is wheat. So if we're looking for longs between these two markets, if you're looking to I guess if you're looking to build a football team, are you going to pick the strongest players or the weakest players? You're trying to win. You're trying to go long here and win. You're not going to pick the weak player to put on your team. You're not going to align yourself with the dumb people. You're going to align yourself with the smart people if you're trying to build a business. So that's the thinking here, and I'm going to show you why I would go long Chicago wheat and not Kansas City. So here's Chicago, just generally just a little bit stronger than Kansas City. So that's why I'm looking to stay long Kansas City. I got long. There was a qualified trend line coming down here like that, and I got long right here. So let's see. Maybe it's the bottom. Maybe the bottom is in. Now, one more thing I'm going to show you that I really I like to see is I like to see the April monthly bar closed. Where's Kansas City? Here we go. The April monthly bar closed very oversold. So I like when the monthly readings on the percent R aligned with my trade setup. So we have a very oversold percent R reading. I would expect this market to rally fairly significantly here. At least I'm positioned for it to happen. So that's the setup. Those are the confirmations. And that's it, you guys. That's how I read these markets. You shouldn't trade the markets blindly. This stuff is all easy to see. You just need to learn how to see it. So if you want to learn more about COT trading and price action trading too, but generally COT trading, I have a free Discord where you can join and learn from me in the markets, watch how I participate in the markets, and also interact with a great group of traders that are in this Discord. So if that sounds like something you're into, send me an email at tradiustrades@gmail.com. I really hope this has been of value to you. If you did find it useful, make sure you like, subscribe, share, retweet, send it to your friends. Make sure that people get this message. This is great stuff, you guys, and it's changed my life, and I think it can do the same for you. So without any further ado, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and thanks a lot for listening.